Michael Saylor, once again, is telling us how the future of Bitcoin is going to be. Do you think he will be on track with what he has to say? Because he is actually going to tell us how Bitcoin is going to be in 8 years, believe it or not. 8 years from now, do you have any clue where Bitcoin could be or what it's going to be like? Given everything that's been happening in the last year with all the craziness that's happened in the industry, how can we even see 8 years into the future? That's like 2031 from now. Like, wow, what's it going to be like? Anyways, Michael Saylor had a number of things to say about it. I'm going to look at what he has to say and give my take on it. Is it good? Is it bad? Let me know if you agree with what he has to say or if you agree with me. Let me know in the comments. Let's get down to it.
Explain the difference between a centralized staked token and a decentralized proof of work token. We now have a few better examples, right? I think the meltdown of
coins.
Terra and the meltdown of Luna and the meltdown of the Wildcat exchanges, the meltdown of FTT, the meltdown of FTX, all of those has put the fragility and the defect in architecture of the crypto industry front and center. The regulators have been rousted out of bed, to go on television.
Interesting
to
imagery
answer
there,
questions.
Crypto Shack.
Congress has been lit up. You're going to see every agency thinking about this. You're seeing mainstream media writing about this. The Wall Street Journal has got story after story after story after story after story.
After story.
Unlike writing stories that, crypto is like Bitcoin except more energy efficient. That was the story a while ago.
Pretty
the
much.
stories now are, and you saw it when I was on CNBC. I said, BTC is not FTT. And every one of the anchors nodded and said, yeah, you got that right. It's pretty obvious why. So the meltdown of the crypto ecosystem is educating an entire generation of mainstream journalists, mainstream investors, mainstream regulators and policymakers. And they understand that now they have to do something, and the regulation that's going to come is going to stop the scams, it's going to stop the self-dealing, it's going to provide a framework by which people start to understand the difference between an ethical, economically sound, technically sound asset and a fair, equitable, principled approach versus an unethical, uneconomically sound, untechnically sound, unregistered security.
Let's hold it right there. So Michael Saylor, once again, in this point, is going on about the regulators and how they're going to have to come in and they're going to have to make all these decisions on what Bitcoin is and what all these other things are. And I've talked about it before. You got to understand who Michael Saylor is and what position he's in. When you hear people talking about Bitcoin, and you hear me talking about anything, you hear anybody talking about anything, generally you got to think, okay, where are they coming from? Why are they taking that position? What's in it for them, right? Because at the end of the day, Michael Saylor, he is all about Bitcoin. And I mean all, because he's all in on Bitcoin, which means with his position and the kind of money that he wants to see flow into the space in order for Bitcoin to see it go up the way that he has talked about it going up to his investors is really what he is angling for. And that is his duty, his fiduciary duty as in his position, which he's no longer CEO, but he is in the position of promoting Bitcoin in a sense that is meant to have people align only with Bitcoin. So his message about how regulators need to come down on everything else except Bitcoin is the kind of thing that Michael Saylor wants to see, because that means price go up for Bitcoin. That's the bottom line. Now, do we really want to see that? Is crypto really what, the whole idea that crypto is nothing but, all these games? What Michael Saylor just said was like Bitcoin, but it's actually energy efficient. But now it's not. Now it's all about the scams and how it's unethical, and now it's all this and that. Yeah, that's not fair either. It's kind of, I'm looking for the word it's kind of cryptoist. Like it's kind of like being a cryptoist. Yeah, I've just made that up. So you're a cryptoist if you are going to paint all crypto projects with the same brush of you're going to prejudge them and have your own ideas about what they're about before you even look at them just because they're not Bitcoin. You're a cryptoist. I don't know if that's going to stick. No. Anyways, don't be a cryptoist like Michael Saylor is, because he's a cryptoist. So the point is that you need to look at all things because all things are unique, right? You gotta look at the team that's behind the projects, look at what the project is itself, look at the protocol, look at everything about what you're looking at, and just judge for yourself, because really, if we're all about taking ownership over our money, we got to start taking ownership over our decisions. We got to start taking ownership about how we're going to judge things, right? Stop passing it off to Michael Saylor or somebody else that's out there, right? Or me, for that matter. Hey, don't leave me out of the mix. I encourage you to make your own decisions all the time. I'll give you my 2 cents to help you along, maybe, but ultimately, you really gotta do your own research, like everybody else likes to say, right? So I take exception to what Michael Saylor is saying here. It's a bit cryptoist of him to be making these kind of statements. And I just don't think that this is what the regulators should be doing. Now, as far as I've talked about before in regards to regulators, there is a place for them when it comes to dealing with fiat, because that's what it's all about. Unregistered securities, in terms of being securities, sure, deal with securities, that's fine. The truth is, though, much of crypto, well, there's lots in crypto that doesn't even touch on that, right? So there's no need for it, right? The things that are decentralized will have nothing to do with regulators and securities. The things that aren't definitely will, right? And those are the ones that the SEC and all these other regulators and all this kind are starting to look at. And once again, this beating of the drum by Michael Saylor about wanting to bring regulators in, understand it's because he wants more Bitcoin, like Bitcoin number one all the way. If he can see, if you look at CoinMarketCap and you can see the amount of value that is in Bitcoin and then the value that is in the rest of crypto, you can see almost 50% of it. I think last time I looked at it, just today, it's around 54% of it is Bitcoin dominance. Imagine the other 46% or so going back into Bitcoin. That's what Michael Saylor would love to see, right? He'd love to see that happen. And that's why he makes these comments. So just keep in mind, like the motivation of why people say what they say and what position they're in and their fiduciary responsibilities, because that has a lot to do with the things that they're going to, the positions they're going to take, right? Anyways, that's my take on it. Don't agree with what he says. Don't be a cryptoist. Let's move on. Let me know if you agree with what he has to say or if you agree with me. Let me know in the comments. Anyways, it was an interesting look into the future. I hope you enjoyed the journey. Like and subscribe if you did. Hope you had a good time, and I'll see you in the next one.